This is one of the most basic cars in Driving Empire with millions existing, and this is one of the rarest cars in Driving Empire with under 2,000 existing. But today, we are going to be taking a look at some of the rarest cars in Driving Empire as of 2024. So make sure to subscribe and drop a like on this video to see some of the rarest cars, but without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so we are in the dealership. We can see all of the off-sale cars right now, but before we get into this list, I just want to say, I am not too sure on the accuracy of some of these lower end cars. One might be rarer than the other. I don't really know of the rarity on these, so take this info with a grain of salt. But some of the more rare cars, like the top 3 for example, I know how many of each of those there are. So the top 3 on this list, those will be pretty accurate, but some of these lower end ones, like I said, might not be the most accurate, but you get it. All of them are very rare at the end of the day, so if they've made it on this list, that's already pretty special. Okay, so the first car on our list is going to be the Tomaso. I don't know which one this is, I just know it's called a Tomaso. Now this was obtained in the 2020 Halloween event. That's 4 years ago now. That's a very long time ago. Now, here's the deal. This car, it would have been more common, but there was a little glitch with that Halloween event, or maybe it was an intentional thing. I don't really know, but it allowed players who got these event cars to sell them and then buy them again. So, let's say you obtained this event car in the event, and then you decided to sell it. Well, I mean, you got money from it, which was great, but then you lost the car and you would have to grind all over in the event to get it again. But I know a lot of people, including me back then, would buy these cars and then sell them off during the event and just never bother getting it again later. So that made this car pretty rare, and obviously it was only available during a Halloween event, and that was 4 years ago before the game was super popular. So that makes this car very rare. Now, the next car on my list, and I don't know if I've forgotten any from this event, but the next one on our list is also from this event. So let's go ahead and see that car right now. Alright, so the next car on our list was also from the 2020 Halloween event. Just like the Tomaso, this thing obviously has been off sale for like 4 years now. Only available for like 1 month during the event. But the difference is this car's received a remodel, so the doors actually open and it looks pretty cool. Bit better model quality as well, so that's super nice. And obviously, this one was like a higher up event car, so you had to grind a lot more to get this one. Therefore, even less people ended up with it, and as I said, a lot of people ended up selling their event cars. So imagine that, like a super hard to get event car, very few people get it, right? And let's say some of them sold it as well, and then some of those players that still had it might have also quit the game over time, therefore leaving this car with a very nice rarity. And also, it looks pretty cool, so great for the players who own it. I unfortunately don't, but that is the next car on our list. Obviously, there may have been some other cars from this event that I forgot about, so any of those will also be down here with these cars. They all probably have similar rarity now. Obviously, the higher up the event car was in the event, the rarer it is. But basically, all those Halloween event cars from 2020 are gonna be this first area of cars on our list. Anyways, on to the next vehicle. Okay, so the next car on our list is going to be the Ford GTLM. Now, this car was added back in summer of 2021, I believe. It came in a summer update, and it was just a normal car in the dealership. Anyone who had 4.2 million could have purchased it, but not many people chose to because of the poor stats, and only people who would want to buy it were the collectors who cared about this Ford GT. So if you bought it, you are a lucky person because they decided to remove it like 4 months, I believe, after adding it. So imagine that, you were one of the lucky people who got this car when it came out and you kept it in your inventory, and then they just took it off sale for no reason and kept it rare. So if you were able to get this car, you are very lucky because not many people have this car still. So this is a very, very special car. Very rare, that's why it's on our list, and I mean, yeah, pretty cool looking thing. I really wish I purchased this back then, but I did not buy it because I thought the handling, the acceleration, and the top speed were all pretty bad for this car. So yeah, I mean, I should have bought it now that I think about it, but how would I have known that it was gonna go off sale? Anyways, on to the next vehicle. Now, the next vehicle, some people might know this is my favorite car, and I was lucky enough to buy it. Because of this coming to the game, I actually learned about this car, and that's why it became my favorite car. This is the Porsche Gambala Mirage GT. Now, this thing doesn't have the best stats, but let me explain why I was so intrigued by this car when it came to the game. I'm gonna go ahead and take out the car for a drive, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so I'm out driving the car right now, and as you can see, it looks a bit different than in the dealership, and that's because I added the body kit that was added to the game. It's just a carbon package. I love the carbon package. It looks so cool, but This ended up becoming my dream car in real life because it got added to the game. I had no clue what this was before Driving Empire added it. Now, the reason I love it so much is because of the looks. I mean, this thing looks amazing. How could you not love this? Anyways, let me explain what makes this so rare. So basically, it was like 2021, right? Driving Empire, they used to be called Wayfort. So right when the switch from Wayfort to Driving Empire happened, then, you know, the new Driving Empire was out, obviously, and tons of players were really excited. They were buying all the new cars that got added in that update. And then there was another update after that that added some really expensive limited cars. I believe one was 20 million and one was 9 million. And then the update after that, you know, not many people had much money left. And then they decided to release 2 limited stock cars. Now, let me explain what that means. So a limited stock car was only a one-time thing they did. They never did it again after this update for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's a pretty cool thing that they did, but I don't know if they would ever be able to do it again because too many players are in the game now, so the car would sell out way too fast. So basically, this car, right, there was a limited stock of how many? I believe like maybe 500 to 1,000. I can't remember the exact number. I think it was like 500 though. And then there was a Lamborghini Countach which got removed, sadly. That had like a limited stock of 1,000. I think that's what it was. But then I heard that they restocked the cars one more time. So actually there ended up being 1,000 of these since there was 500 originally, I believe. And then 2,000 of the, God, what is it? The Lamborghini Countach. So I don't really know if those numbers are correct. So I'm going to say this car has like maybe 500 to 2,000 existing. I don't really know, but I know that there was over 500 probably because I have number 766, which is why my license plate says MGT 766. MGT stands for Mirage GT, and the car in real life is called the Gambala Mirage GT, so hence why I called it the MGT 766. So very special car to me. I actually sold off the only car I had in the game at the time to get this when it came out. I remember that day very clearly. I was like panicking that I wasn't gonna get one. And then the update released. I wanted to buy one, but then the selling feature in the game broke. So let's say I went here, wanted to sell this car. It wouldn't work when I clicked yes for some reason. So I believe I was trying to sell the Koenigsegg Jesko to get it. Pretty big L because like that was the only car I had and that was really good performing back in the day. Like it was one of the best cars you could have to perform well. But I sold it to get this car and I do not regret it at all because this thing is amazing and it's super rare. So let's go ahead and move on to our next car. Okay, so now this next car, I don't really like this thing too much because I once had it and I made the mistake of selling it. So this was a Robux pack car. It came in the game for maybe like 1,000 Robux. I can't remember how much. But yeah, I mean, this was a Robux pack car. Pretty simple. You just had to pay Robux to get it. And tons of people could have got it, but for some reason, a lot of people decided to sell this when they got it. I don't know why people decided to do that, including me. I was one of the stupid people. This car came in the game, and for some reason, when you bought the Robux pack back then, you had the option to sell the cars from the pack. So I could sell this for like 1.5 million. Let me tell you, not worth it at all. This thing ended up becoming super rare because so many people, for some reason, just decided to buy the pack and sell it. And that just made it very rare. I don't really know how many there are. I just know I never really see these around. Therefore, that means it's super rare, I'm guessing. And it also looks pretty sick. It's a Porsche 918 with this cool looking heritage livery. Yeah, man, if you have this car, lucky you. This thing is sick. I hate the fact that I sold it. Oh my god, I wish I didn't sell it. That was so stupid. All I got was 1.5 million. I could have had one of the rarest cars in the game, but nope, I sold it. Anyways, on to the next vehicle. Okay, so this next car on the list, this is the Mercedes 300 SLR. This is a very rare car, and I'm lucky enough to own it. So, as you can see, it's got a great model. This is one of the newer cars that recently got taken out of the game, so no more people can get it. As you can see, it's pretty cool. We got wheels in the back, a real engine model up there that looks sick. Interior looks great. So this is a new car because it's been modeled very recently, as you can tell. Really good looking model. Basically, this car was obtained from the Robux crate. It costed about 650 Robux per spin, I believe, so very expensive. And this was the grand prize, so you could have ended up spending maybe 650 Robux to a million Robux, and you only have the chance to get this, not guaranteed. So basically like gambling to get this car, but that's a whole drama that has came in this game and left this game, so we're not going to talk about that. But basically, because of its rarity and how hard it was to get from the crate, no one really ended up getting it. I know very few people who have it, and I know some of the best players of the game, so I'm lucky enough to be able to have it. But yeah, not many people got this thing, so it's super rare. Obviously, I don't know an exact number, but I would guess below 500 maybe for this car. Okay, so the next car on our list is the Porsche 911 GT1. Now, this is from the 2021 Halloween event. This was the grand prize. Now, there was a prize better than this, but we'll get onto that later in the list, so stick around for that. But this car, right, it was supposedly the grand prize from the event, and it costed 110,000 pumpkins. Now, let me just tell you, the only way to get pumpkins in that event, I believe, was just driving around the map and collecting them. And there were pumpkins that gave 1 to like 7 pumpkins maybe. So you can imagine it took a lot of driving around and smashing pumpkins to get this car. Now, I don't know how many people have it, but I do know it's really rare because it has this blue thing behind it, and the cars with the blue thing behind it mean it's like really, really rare. I believe below 1,000 originally. I don't, obviously, you know, like stuff changes over time. Cars get removed from players, that type of thing if they get banned, but originally this had below 1,000, therefore making it super duper rare. Now, I don't know exactly how many there were, but I do know no one really wanted to grind for it. Only the really dedicated players did, including me. I spent like 2 or 3 days trying to get this thing, just driving around collecting pumpkins for hours each day. So I can tell you this thing took a lot of work to get, but if you got it, you're very lucky because this is one of the rarest cars in the game now. Anyways, on to our next vehicle. Now, the next 2 vehicles on our list are cars that I do not have in-game right here to show you. I don't own them, and they're not shown here, so I'm going to just have to pop up some screenshots of them. Basically, these cars are from when the game was called Wait For It, when there was very little players, and they got removed when the game switched from Wait For It to Driving Empire, therefore making the amount of people that had them very low. And it's just like no one expected them to be taken off sale. They just were taken off sale randomly, and anyone who had them got to keep them, but no one else could buy them. And let me just tell you, not that many people had them because they were just random cars. You know, there was not really anyone who was out there buying every car in the game. They were just people that would collect maybe a supercar and a hypercar and call it a day in this game. No one had all the cars back then, so the amount of people that would own these random cars are very low. So the first one is going to be the Ram TRX. Now, I believe this is a Ram Rebel, but according to the Driving Empire wiki page or whatever, they said it's a Ram TRX, so I guess that's what it is. I don't know how many there are, but that's what the car is, basically. And then the next one, I believe these 2 are like tied because they're very similar rarity, I'm guessing. The next one is the Dodge Durango. Same situation as the Ram TRX, taken off sale when the game switched from Wait For It to Driving Empire. You all get it. These 2 cars are basically in the same position. So that's all you need to know about these 2. On to the next vehicle. Now, the next vehicle is another car that I unfortunately don't have a photo of. Now, this one, I believe it's called like the Ford GTLM race car, blah, 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 Pro. I know there's like a ton of random things in the name, so I'm gonna just call it the Ford GTLM race car. Now, this thing is super sick. I really wish I could have got it. This ended up being one of the rarest cars in the game, and unfortunately, I used to own it in Wait For It. It got taken off sale when the game switched from Wait For It to Driving Empire, just like those previous 2 cars we discussed, and I owned it. I owned this car. I could have driven it around still, but I was stupid and I sold it for a Bugatti Veyron. I know. Big mistake, because the Bugatti Veyron, there was like thousands of them in the game, I'm sure. And this, there's probably below 100, so big L on me for selling this back in the day. But I don't want to talk about it anymore. We don't have to worry about that. It's in the past. I don't own it anymore. That was like 2 or 3 years ago. So that's unfortunate, but let's go ahead and see what the next car on our list is. Okay, so the next car on the list is going to be the GordonMorray T50. Now, as you can see, it's got the little blue thing behind it, meaning it's pretty rare. Now, this car was obtainable in 2 ways, yet it's somehow still rare. So, the first way was if you bought it in the dealership for $300,000 when it was originally there. Now, it's not like this was back in Wait For It. No, this was when the game was called Driving Empire. It might have been early Driving Empire days, but still, there were a decent amount of players when this car came out. It was only $300K. The reason people wouldn't buy it is because it looked a bit funny. But, I mean, besides that, anyone could have bought it. But then after like a month or 2, I believe they took it off sale, and then it was put into a Robux pack car. So once again, there's your second opportunity to buy it, right? So I believe it was very cheap, honestly. I don't know how many Robux. I think it was like 500 to 800. So you could have literally got this and some other cars in that pack for that much Robux. And yet, I was stupid enough to not buy either of the two, the pack or it when it was in the dealer. And now look at it, because no one really bought it, right? And keep in mind, this thing was sellable still if you had it. So let's say it was off sale, you could sell it. If you bought it from the crate, you could sell it. So, or not the crate, my bad, the Robux pack, you could still sell it. So people could have sold this car, right? And if they didn't know it's a rarity, they might have sold it, and people could still sell it, I believe. So that just makes it that rare, because I'm sure tons of people wanted the money from it. I don't know why you would want it, probably a very low amount of money, but I believe a lot of people ended up selling this thing, and I was stupid enough to not even try to buy it in either of the two ways. So yeah, man, this car is just super rare because of that. I mean, I guess no one wanted it because it looked a bit weird, but now it's super rare. Anyways, on to the next vehicle. Okay, so the next car is the Aston Martin Valkyrie. Now, I said I would get to this car earlier on the list. I was talking about the Porsche GT1, I believe, and I said there was a car in the 2021 Halloween event that was rarer than that car, even though that was supposed to be the grand prize. Well, no, this was the secret prize, I guess you could say. So let's say you were on a leaderboard. There's like this one leaderboard for the most pumpkins smashed or broken. And if you were on the 100 player leaderboard right there was only 100 players on that leaderboard. If you were one of those 100 players, you were given this Aston Martin. Therefore, you know, that already sets it at 100 players owning it, making it super rare, right? And you would think, oh, so 100 people own this. That's a pretty clear number, but no, because think about it like this. I'm sure tons of those players, I mean, not tons of them, but like some, might have got banned from Roblox, banned from Driving Empire, or quit Driving Empire. So think about it like that. There's, let's say, 10 banned from Roblox and Driving Empire. That leaves you with 90 of these. But let's say some of those players might have quit the game because those are like old players, you know? Like that's from maybe like 2 or 3 years ago now, I believe. So some of those players might have quit over time, right? Therefore making the rarity even more, because if it's not in the game anymore, like if the players just don't play, I mean, it's basically not even here. So technically, yes, there's probably like 90, 70, 80, somewhere around there that are still owned, but the amount of players that actually still play the game with this is probably significantly lower, therefore making this our second rarest car in the game. But what is the rarest car? Well, let's take a look right now. Okay, so the rarest car is so rare, it's not even shown in the dealership, in the off sale or on sale section. That's how rare it is. But you might be wondering, what is it? Well, it's the Porsche 911 RSR. Now, how was this thing obtained? Well, let me start by telling you, not in a simple way. So first, you had to buy the Robux pack back and wait for it for the Track Pass cars. So it was called like Track Pack Cars or whatever. So you had to pay Robux first, and then you had to spend 960,000 in-game dollars on the car. So Robux and in-game money to buy this car. And I believe this was like the most expensive track pack car at that time that was taken off sale when the game switched from Wait For It to Driving Empire. So because of that, it made it super rare. Now, you could have still sold the car. You might still be able to sell the car if you have it. I don't really know because I don't have it, but let's just say you still had the car. Well, they ended up removing the cool livery from the car, so it was just stuck in a basic color for a very long time. I think it was like gray. I don't even think you could change the color for a period of time, so that probably made a lot of players sell it. Now, obviously, some of those players over time also might have got banned from Roblox, banned from Driving Empire, or just quit the game, and that leads us to our number of how many of these have in the game. So there's actually only 22 to 30 of these, and that is said by the manager of Driving Empire, therefore making this the rarest car in the game at the moment. Now, I don't know if any of these cars will ever return, or maybe they'll get removed because of legal issues. I don't really know, but that's the list of the rarest cars in Driving Empire as of January 2024. Well, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Obviously, this list took me a while to make, and also this video is going to take me a very long time to edit. I've already been recording for about an hour now on this video, so this is definitely going to be a complicated video for me to work on. So make sure to drop a like if you enjoyed it. I would truly appreciate it. Subscribe, ring that notification bell so you never miss another upload, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.